Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Brian's 1950 F1 truck we built from the ground up. Coyote powered. We're going to be driving around with it a little bit. We'll go underneath and do a full build breakdown. So this is a truck we finished up about a year ago. It took, I'm going to say, a year and a half, 2 years for us to do the full build on it. When it came into us, it had a flathead stock chassis. It had some few things that had been upgraded to it, but really what it had was a story of Brian having this truck since he was in high school. His dad bought it for him. They worked on it together, just shared a lot of memories, enjoying the truck, driving it through high school. Brian went off to college and so on, but always kept the truck. He got to a point where he wanted to build it the way he's always wanted to do it, and he hired us to do the work for him. So it started out, we put it on a TCI chassis, was one of the first decisions. They made a bolt-on chassis for this application, which is always a good way to go. Would put the truck at a stance that he liked. It also was set up for a Coyote. So we went with the Gen 3 Coyote in this truck. So this is actually the car that we prototyped our Gen 3 coil covers on. Worked out really good, something we wanted to do to dress up this engine bay a little bit and hide all the injectors and the coils and everything. They work on the stock valve covers, which was a nice way to go. We didn't get into the internals of this engine, so it allowed us to keep factory seals and everything working that way. It just would have created more problems. Whenever we can use that factory type stuff, we like to. This is a custom green in Verde Pearl, I think they called it. Paint House Texas mixed it up for us. It's beautiful, really tricky to spray. There's so much pearl and metallic in it. I mean, it's probably this thick on the bottom of a can. So you have to be very skilled and planned out when you're spraying in color like this to make it all match and look good and lay out nice. Just absolutely love the color on it. It's one of the first things everybody says when they see the truck. On the inner fenders, the firewall and everything, we kind of did a trick we do a lot with just a flat clear with the base coat that's on the exterior. We got rid of the big shocks. Well, they're like springs that go down from here down lower on the firewall, and that's what holds the hood up. A couple of reasons we did that: it kind of cleans it up a little bit, as well as it allows the back of the hood to drop all the way flush when it's closed. So when I close it, I'll show you what I mean by that. That forced us to do something else to support the hood. So we built this prop rod that just spring loaded and clips back into the hood. It's really easy to operate. And then built these closeout panels as well to kind of tie in and create a shroud for the radiator. Originally, the radiator came up like 4 inches higher at least, and it would have sealed off to the hood, and then the air gets forced in through this part of the hood and the grill, and that's what feeds through the radiator. We honestly put the radiator in the core support how it was stock in this chassis and this radiator, and it just looked it was not right. Honestly, we could probably throw a picture in here if I have one. I would have opened this hood and it would have been like, whoa, the freaking radiator's right there. Lowering that down, cleaned it up a whole bunch. That forced us to do a shroud. Also, it just cleans it up really nice. This is all custom sheet metal stuff that we made for it. The engine bay overall is pretty stock. Stock firewall, stock inner fenders, but you can see just how much that little bit of cleanup can present the engine bay well. The coil covers on the engine, and it just takes it to the next level. So super happy with how that came out. Super happy with all the Coyote stuff that we've done. We get them tuned and dialed in, and they make good power. They sound cool with those cam shafts always adjusting. They sound different when they're cold, when they're hot. It's a fun engine. A couple other details on the front of this truck that I really like is just how nice all these panels fit together. When we got the truck, somebody had welded these pieces together. After sandblasting them, we found that all this metal had been so caved in and damaged from the welding that it was honestly not even repairable. And additionally, there was some other damage on the fenders. So these are actually new fenders and new lower fenders as well. Brian and I talked about, do we want to weld these ones together again? We could do it correctly and hammer weld all that stuff, but we kind of decided it would look better as a seam, and I couldn't agree more that having a nice clean seam sometimes actually makes it look really good. So this is just a silly little thing about this truck, but I remember Doug and I spent a lot of time to get those fitting right, and it's nice to see it in paint all done and looking good, as well as getting this grill to fit. We decided to paint, this was chrome. They had it chrome years ago. We went for painting this and just having stainless bars. The bumper got moved in a little bit, just more little details to make it custom, clean it up, tidy it up, tighten things, but still have the overall appearance of a 50 Ford. Really, really pleased with how all that stuff came together. So I'll close the hood and kind of show you what I was talking about, doing the hood hinges the way we did them. So this prop rod just goes up, spring loaded, pops right in this little latch, and then the hood comes down. A lot of times on these trucks, you'll see how the back of the hood is raised really high compared to the cowl, and you have fit issues through here and down the side of the fender. Oftentimes what we found is a couple things. The hinges will be worn out, so there'll be extra play in the bushings. And those springs, you can imagine it actually puts upward pressure on the back of the hood because it has to, it's there to assist. But that doesn't allow the hood to fall down. So stuff like that to kind of dial in the fit and finish on them. Yeah, this color in the sun is just something. It's got, I mean, it's obviously green, but it's got like lime green in it. It's got blue in it, maybe a little purple. And all that is the pearls actually change color as you look at them from different angles. So that's what oftentimes creates that effect. We did one piece door glass. So originally this would have had a wing window in it here, and that's all been changed now, just kind of a little more clean that way. One thing we really like doing is putting these power window switches in that look like window cranks. So you just push it up a little bit and then the window goes up. These ones seem to work out. They work really well. The interior on this truck turned out awesome as well. Massimo did this one. It's all leather. It's got custom made door panels with little polished aluminum details. This nice, I'm gonna butcher this, suede or Alcantara or whatever it is. This is a glide seat, I believe it is. And then I shaped up some like aluminum just to trim out around the bottom. And then Massimo did this little armrest deal, which is actually kind of nice, honestly. It just helps secure you in there a little bit. The dash in this thing is awesome too. So the overall shape of the dash is pretty stock. One thing that we did make is this is all one-off machined and designed stuff that we did. We were looking for a place because the truck's got air conditioning now. So we were trying to figure out how we could put vents in. And oftentimes what we've done before is you add like a panel below the dash, and that gives you a place to mount your AC controls, put some vents, maybe an extra switch that you need or something. We kind of just felt like it wasn't the right thing for this truck. Making this dash taller, it wouldn't feel as much like a truck, and it would just change it too much. So we searched for a different way to achieve all that. So this is like a radio delete panel is kind of what they called it. But to get a radio for one of these trucks is near impossible. The rest of this was a speaker grill, and this piece never really fit anyway. So we machined a new one, put the Coyote in it by Ford, just a little custom touch. And then this radio is out of a later truck, a 55 or something. Set that up in here because it has the vintage look. Put the controls for the air conditioning, recess those in a little bit. Also like this little tiny detail of just machining the knobs so that they have this same kind of like groove on them just to tie it all in. And then put a couple vents down here. This line matches the lines on the gauges, and I just couldn't be happier with how it turned out. This was pretty early on in some of our CNC machining endeavors, so Derek took this on and did a killer job. This sitting on the dash looks like it's supposed to be here. A panel down below looks like it had to be there. So the whole interior on this is just comfortable. It's soft. I'm gonna say it's soft and then it's firm at the same time, but like it's soft, but it holds its shape well. The leather's nice. It always smells good in here. The square weave carpet looks really good around on the floor as it wraps around the tunnel and the floor mats. This is the drive-by-wire for the Coyote, so obviously the whole throttle valve and everything is controlled by that module. It seems like getting these steering columns and the brakes and everything and the throttle to all sit in the right spot is always a trick. We actually ended up moving this column up the floorboard a little bit farther. That improved our steering shaft angle for the U-joints and gave us a little extra room for the pedal. It seems like that's always a problem because these things come down all the way down through the floor, down by my foot, and then you're hitting them and it just doesn't feel right. So ergonomically made a good improvement with that stuff. Brian had this truck in high school, so this tag Brian's dad made for him and was stuck right here. So we saved the tag and put it back on. It's the only piece of the truck that wasn't restored or cleaned and redone. So 4/18 of 1987. Pretty cool. We waited a while to pull this off. We need to take it off so we can paint behind it and everything. We take it off and there's a big hole right behind it. We're like, that's probably why they put it there in the first place. They needed to cover a hole. So no, we did not fix the hole. I was just thinking about the stereo. It sounds really good in here. Small cab, well insulated, so it just creates a nice, clean, crisp sound. couple speakers here and the kick panels. And then I remember working on these with Massimo as well. These little speakers just like grafted into the corner, but it's just a nice, clean, trimmed out detail. Bass tube behind the seat, a little bit of storage. Just a fun truck to drive. Good power, good ride. Another thing we did to this truck that just helps with the overall feel of it is we did bear claw latches. So got rid of the old style latch and converted it over. So it's just a pin here and then a modern latch there, and it ties into the factory handle. So they work really well. So this is also a brand new bed. It's a stock styling, but it's just a new bed. And these are actually really high quality reproductions. Stock fenders, stock fender width. We just work really hard to get this tire fit just right. So you can see there's just enough room, but it looks good when that tire is as close out to the edge of the fender as you can get it. Get it to fill the opening nice, and a good deep dish on it. Just a classic hot rod kind of feel. The bed wood and the whole inside of the bed turned out killer. It's like soft, it's tight, it's fit very well. We did the flat clear trick like we did on the engine bay, so it's got body color that ties and flows into the bed. Same flat clear was used over the stained oak wood. No fasteners on the bed rails. I forget what they call those. All those bolts, there's like little clips that slide in there that bolts all that together, but you don't see any of the hardware. The through bed fill, it's just like a push through style cap, so you just open this up and push it right through and fill it up. Those work really well. Like this originally would have had the big chain on it and an exposed hook basically that held the tailgate on. So we changed it over to these like bullet style latches and then fit these supports in. These are always a trick to get just right, because when you fold up the tailgate, you want them to sit nice and vertical, or at least consistent side to side. They can't bind. You don't want them to be rubbing against the paint. And then when they come down, you want to make sure the tailgate's level. So like it's a simple thing, but to change this from a chain to this and have it all work right is really a trick. So this one turned out really nice. There's something else that we did. Well, that'll be our little secret. There was something else that we did through here to just clean these lines up and make it fit tighter to the bed. I know we put these caps on the ends of the bed rails to flush those out. This would have just originally been open, this rolled part. These tail lights, stainless brackets, everything, move them in a little bit closer, but it's still an original style light. We moved the bumpers in closer to the body as well. I love like a little notch for the exhaust right here. Just looks purposeful. We machined this frame for it, for the vintage plate with the light in it and all that. Snuck the logo in there. The brackets on this bumper also moves the bumper up, because originally they're like really low and it leaves this gap through here. This truck made it on last year's shirt. So we did call it like a blueprint style shirt. It's got the Buick and the 50F1 on it. This shirt's available on our website as well. Our new hat, everything, all this stuff helps support the channel, helps create more content, so we really appreciate it. Okay, we got Brian's 50F1 up on a lift. We can go underneath, show you some of the details with the chassis, all the plumbing, the wiring, the exhaust. It's all pretty fun to look at. You can see the stainless exhaust goes all the way out the back through the little notches in the bumpers, stainless tank, TCI chassis, coilovers, 4-bar, 9-inch disc brakes. This is one of the first vehicles that got our U-drill line clamps, which are the ones that are made to be drilled out to any diameter. The new ones that we have, and I wish we had them in this truck now, they're a little sleeker in every direction, but they would be made like for a 3/16 brake line. So we call those a pre-drill. Those are available on our website now. They just came out a couple of weeks ago. It's what we use in our shop, and I think they'll be a really great addition to this system. For all the fuel system, all the transmission cooler lines, brake lines, everything. Really clean, lots of planning as far as the routing goes of everything. We really like to use these transmission coolers, the derailleur stuff. You can just remote mount them. They've got a fan on them. Never have to worry about the transmission getting too hot. I remember on this exhaust too was pretty fun, because we didn't want to go through the center. We didn't want to go below. So we actually notched the frame and went outside the frame rail in between the running board and the frame, which turned out really cool. Did the bellows for the vibration, the V-band, so we could take it all apart, but it turned out really tricky. This is a 4R70W from Bowler. They build a really great transmission. And then we got the Coyote, rack and pinion steering, headers, stainless headers somehow tucked up in there. I remember part of the reason we had to move the brake pedal was just to clear the header as well. Those are always tricky to do, like we talked about in a previous video talking about the brakes, is getting the geometry of that pedal just right for the pedal feel, and the ratio, how hard you have to push on it is all really important. So check out that video if you want to see common problems related to brakes and kind of stuff that we run into all the time. Another thing, when I was talking about the engine bay and lowering the radiator, you can see here, this is the core support mount. This is the core support here. And we actually cut this entire brace out, this cross member, and lowered it down. And that's how we're able to achieve that lower look with the same height of a radiator. It's gonna be kind of hard to see, but nonetheless, we built a shroud as well. It kind of dropped down right here so we could still direct all the air through the fins of the radiator with it in a lower position. And the way this exhaust came around outside the rail is really cool. I remember looking at it with Brian and being like, how the heck are we gonna get down the middle? And then we gotta get on the outside and we don't know where we're gonna put the mufflers. And then as soon as we committed to that as an idea, it all made sense. It all worked really well. It looks really cool. Putting the muffler all the way in the back, I really like the way this sounds. And if you remember when we talked about the 70, the F-250 with the Coyote and how we changed the exhaust in a previous video, I talked about it quite a bit when we were driving. Putting the X-pipe in and the resonators and trying to get the tones and everything just right. I had this truck here when Mike was talking about doing the Coyote in that truck, and I was like, hey, listen to how this thing sounds, and then we can recreate the exhaust in your truck if you like the way this sounds. So I fired it up for him, and we all agree it sounds great. It doesn't have that raspiness that we ended up with in the Ford truck. I think most of it has to do with how far back the muffler is placed. It's got headers just like the other truck, just the muffler is farther back and the exhaust comes out the rear. But the tone of the 70 F-250, totally different. After we added the X-pipe and the resonators in, we got it to a really good happy spot, but just kind of an interesting thing we came across with the Coyote and this exhaust, how it ended up. Something else that's really great about using coilovers and how these are set up is this knob right here. If you didn't know this, adjusts the shock dampening. So it's rebounding compression in one knob. But you'd be amazed going, like we've kind of played around with it before, you go all the way in and then you go all the way out and you go drive the truck. It feels totally different. So just kind of something you can tune and play with and get to your style of driving, which is fun. It's good to have that little bit of adjustability for that last 5% of the project to just get it feeling good. Thanks for watching the full build breakdown on Brian's 50 F1. If you like it, like it. If you have a question, ask it and follow along for more.
Wait, hold on. Cow's acting up.
Sit down. It's a truck. This is a really smooth part. I need to like read more books.